everybody. I am Samuel Serah, and I work with the Department of Animal Breeding and Genetics, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Ogun State in Nigeria. My area of interest is behavioral genetics, and I work on the behavior and welfare of turkeys and chickens. So I want to welcome everybody to Animal Welfare Group Nigeria with the acronym AWGN. So Animal Welfare Group Nigeria was founded in 2019 after a gathering of students and lecturers from Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria. And we have 3 missions. The first mission is to increase awareness about animal behavior and welfare in Nigeria, Africa, and the world at large. So we are trying to increase awareness. That's where you see us posting a lot of things about animal welfare and behavior on social media. We also try to foster collaboration and networking among researchers who are in the field of behavior and welfare. And the third mission is to educate the public on the importance of animal welfare. We meet the first and the third Wednesdays of every month to discuss issues that are related to animal welfare and behavior. And people from different parts of the world have presented on issues that are related to ethical practices, slaughtering, fear, stress, cognition, neuroscience, artery practices, open science, big data, One Health, behavioral genetics, and others in animals. And when I say animal, I mean livestock, wildlife, pets, and fish. And more than 40 scientists have presented 37 talks on this group. And today's presentation will be the second in the series of the year 2023. And today's presenter is Dr. Iyasere Oluwaseun Serah from the Department of Animal Physiology, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria. Dr. Iyasere will be talking on the role of maternal care in animal welfare, a case study of the dairy and poultry industry. And today's moderator is Victor Oyeniran from the University of Arkansas, United States. So I would love to hand over to Victor to continue. Victor, over to you.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another webinar of the Animal Welfare Group Nigeria. I am Victor Oyeniran from the University of Arkansas, United States. It's a great privilege to moderate this wonderful section. This meeting is being recorded. Feel free to drop your messages, questions in the chat box. It is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Iyasere Oluwaseun Serah. Dr. Oluwaseun Serah obtained her first and second degrees from Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Nigeria. She obtained a PhD from Newcastle University upon Tyne, United Kingdom in 2014. She's a specialist in animal behavior and welfare and a senior lecturer in the Department of Animal Physiology. Dr. Oluwaseun Serah belongs to several professional bodies, both at international and local levels. She is the secretary of the International Society for Applied Entomologists, ISA Africa and West Asia region. She is the coordinator of the Animal Welfare Group Nigeria. She's the first animal welfare officer in Africa certified by Cloverleaf Animal Welfare System in the USA. She has 45 journal articles and 29 reference conference proceedings to her credit. Her research interest is in farm animal behavior and welfare, especially in chickens. Dr. Oluwaseun Serah has won several travel and research grants. She was awarded the prestigious George Foster Research Fellowship for Experienced Researchers sponsored by the Alexandra von Humboldt Foundation. She's the author of the book, Go to the Hen. She posts content on LinkedIn about lessons women can learn from animals to foster the love for animal. She also posts video clips about animal welfare enlightenment due to her passion for animal behavior and welfare. It is a great privilege for us to learn under Dr. Iyasere this day on the role of maternal care in animal welfare, a case study of the dairy and poultry industry.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And thank you to the host, Dr. Serah Samuel. I'm happy to present this afternoon on the topic, the role of maternal care in animal welfare, a case study of the dairy and poultry industry. Start by showing us a picture. When I started making this slide, I decided to go to Google and try to see what is maternal care in animal. I looked at the various pictures that were available, and I want everybody to take a quick look at the different pictures that we have there and drop in the chat box what is most striking to you about any of the picture that you can find on this slide. I noticed that this Google search brought out different types of animals showing different types of behavior, the mother and the offspring. And for different, we have the primates, the elephant, humans here, we have humans. But if we look, I think you should be able to pick one striking behavior. Please drop that in the chat box. I'll be talking about maternal care as it relates to animal welfare. And I'm going to bring in contrast two different animal species, the dairy animals and the poultry industry. Conventionally, the dairy industry, the cows are separated shortly after birth. And this prevents the dam from bonding, from protecting them, and from providing them with nourishment. That is the picture that you have down when the cows are separated and they are kept individually in a pen and provided with artificial milk. Of course, we understand if the situation was due to the death of the cow, but in a situation where the cow is alive, to me, it looks as if we are denying the cow the opportunity to exhibit her natural behavior. And we know that animal welfare has to do with three main themes: the biological functioning of the animal, the ability of the animal to exhibit its natural behavior, and also the subjective feeling of the animal. So I begin to wonder, immediately after calving, when the calves are separated from the dam, how does she feel? What is going on through her mind? What is also going on in the mind of the cows? The first day of life, you are being separated from your mother and you have to live on your own. Of course, research has shown that this kind of separation have a lot of animal welfare concerns, and several research has been done concerning the dairy industry, how to alleviate this welfare issue. And they have come up with different types of cow-cow system, which we have now in practice. Firstly, the first one is the restricted suckling system. In this type of rearing system, the cow, they have only access to their mothers twice in a day within a short period. It could be twice for 15 minutes or twice for 30 minutes. That means they have contact with their mother either for 30 minutes out of the 24 hours in a day or for 1 hour out of the 24 hours in a day. And the reason why we are restricting the suckling is because we humans want to milk the cow and make the milk available for human consumption. But it has also been reported that using this system of restricted suckling method, whenever there is the reunion of the cow and the cow, you will see this rapid approach of either the cow to the cow or the cow to the cow. And then the cow try to sniff, rub and then lick each other. The sniffing is for the cow to be able to identify whether the cow that was brought to eat is actually its own. Immediately after calving, we'll see that the cow will groom the cows by licking and sucking, licking the amniotic fluid. And during this process, it helps the cow have a good memory of the smell of the cow. And subsequently, this memory is retained. And subsequently, when she encounters the cow, she's able to identify based on this registered memory of the smell of her calf. There is also another method that have been devised. It's called the half-day contact. Okay, we want the cow and the calves to come in contact for a longer period of time, but we still want to have a time period when the cow, they are not together and we can still, have enough milk to get from the cow. So in the half-day contact period, 12 hours, the cow and the cows are kept together for just 12 hours, and then they are separated. However, research has also shown that there are times when the cow and the cow to be together, to groom themselves and, to be happy, to be social. They are social animals and they enjoy being together. So it does not have only to do with the nutritional aspect of it. But you can look at the picture that I have here is a picture of the cows that are separated and waiting for the time that they will have opportunity to meet their mothers. Will this not be labor intensive? Will it not take time, releasing the cows every time? How can it be done? I think this picture shows an automated system whereby once it is time for the calf to get in contact with the cow, then the door opens automatically and they have access to each other. The third method is actually the free contact, which is what happens naturally. The free contact or unrestricted access to each other. Here, they are together for 24 hours per day for 6 to 12 weeks because it has also been realized that once they are together, it is still possible for you to milk the cow, although the quantity of milk that can be gotten will not be as much as in the restricted feeding method. Under this system, the cow can show caring and nursing behavior, and the calf-calf bonding in terms of licking, rubbing, and close contact exists. And the cows that are reared under this system, they tend to have higher weight gain and they show less abnormal behavior later in life. We all know that cows, during parturition, they give birth to just one calf. Instead of having each cow to nurse her calf, they also devised the foster cow system where one cow can nurse 2 or 4 cows. So the other 3 will not have access to their cows, but the milk gotten from them can be, sold for consumption. So a single cow now nurses 2 or 4 cows. Of course, it is an opportunity for the cow to live in a group and have contact with the mother, which is the fostered mother, and can also suckle from the foster mother. But it has also been observed that at times the foster cow may not accept or may not even bond with other cows. At times she shows less affiliative behavior, like this grooming behavior, to her own calf compared to other calves that were fostered to her. And she might also show some level of preference for 1 to 2 of specific cows out of the group. So what happens to the ones that she doesn't show preference to? Of course, those ones may be denied the opportunity to suckle, and of course their welfare is compromised. That is really what happens in the dairy industry. I'm not a dairy person really, but when I looked at it, I discovered that there are some similarities or there are some things that we can learn from the dairy industry and then bring to the poultry industry in terms of maternal care. Now that it has been observed that calves that are not reared by the mother tend to develop some welfare issues later in life, and we have seen the different methods that have been, approved or that are available, that are recommended for the dairy farmers to use, like the restricted, have they contact, at least they still have contact with their mother. But in the poultry industry, as it is now, they don't have access to their mothers. You have thousands of chicks that are hatched on a daily basis without any clue about what a mother looks like. Brooding is a serious business for the hen, as we can see. They are dedicated to what they are doing. It is not a waste of time like we humans think. It is not a waste of resources like we humans think. Naturally, that is the way they are wired, to behave. And of course, each behavior, like Nico Timbergen said, have its cause and have its adaptive value. This trait of broodiness have been considered by humans as not economical, because we believe that during the period when they are brooding, the hens cannot lay eggs, and most of the commercial hens that we have available, they have been selected against this trait. Here is a picture of one of my chickens in Nigeria. I really love the plumage color, the white and the black. And I was trying to look into how this Nigerian indigenous chicken would react when she hatches. These are broiler chicks, really. I was able to get some broiler eggs and give to her. So she brooded the eggs and hatched them. And I wanted It was a preliminary observation, just an observation, not a real study. And I was just watching on a daily basis what will happen. How will the hen, communicate to these broilers, because they are different breeds, they are different strains. And it was so interesting for me to see that, of course, the broilers, they understood the language of this native chicken. For me, we can consider this as a cross-fostering system where you have different strains of animal interacting together. The mother is from a different strain and the chicks from a different strain. And here, at the moment, I'm also working on fostering system in chickens. And this is a German bushfowl, fostering silky chicks. And the aim of the experiment I'm doing at the moment is just to see if there will be a difference between in-fostering and cross-fostering system as a maternal care method of rearing the chicks, and how it will affect the welfare of the chicks. So at the moment, I have no results to present on that, but I will talk about what exists or what is going on currently in when it comes to poultry and maternal care. This picture shows these are chicks of the Nigerian indigenous chicken. They are so cute, and when they are still young, they look so nice. But this here shows that these are the chicks that were hatched, and they have no mothers. You can look at them. They have to sort. It's like they have to maneuver life on their own, either to learn from conspecifics or to learn by trial and error, which is different from what happens in the first two pictures that I showed, where at least a mother figure is there, and she is there to teach them what to do. So the life of the mother hen and her chicks, I will show you in this short video clip. She's always there, to instruct. If she finds the feed, she picks it, make a particular noise, drop it, and make sure that the chicks, eat that feed. She's there to instruct, she's there to protect, she's there to give them all that they need. And the chicks, most oftentimes, are always around her. It's rare for them to stray away, and if any one of them strays away, she tries to call them back. She tries to maintain the brood by making the maternal clock sound. The chicks spend their early lives in close proximity to their mothers, and the mother is able to maintain the chick behavior through imprinting, because she is the first figure that these chicks will see when they hatch. And she communicates with them using different types of vocalization, which I'll talk about later. And she tries to ensure that the behavior of these chicks are synchronized. She helps in synchronizing the behavior of the flock. Maternal care. In the dairy industry, or in the dam cow setting, the communication starts just immediately after parturition, but it's a different case for the chicken. They try to establish the bond prior to hatching. Few days to hatching, the mother is able to communicate with her chicks, and immediately after hatching, the chicks should be able to identify the sound of their mother. And this makes it easy for them to, even if they mix up, they will still, they know how to identify the sound of their mother and run back to her. So, and after hatching, there are lots of post-hatch maternal calls that she makes. She gives the roosting call when it is time to sleep, and the maternal call, she tries to attract them. She also gives the maternal call when, like a buffering call to tell when the chicks signal distress to her. I'll talk about that in a subsequent slide. And the alarm call is a call that she gives to alert them about danger in the environment, and to tell them what type of predator is around. Is it a ground predator or an area predator? And from this information that is encoded in the vocalization, they are able to take the best behavioral escape strategy, whether to freeze or to run or to just remain immobile. and then the feed call. This relationship naturally exists between the hen and her chicks for between 5 to 12 weeks, based on scientific evidence. The mother hen is able to regulate the temperature of the chicks because once they at the time they are hatched, their feathers are not fully developed and they cannot, regulate their body temperature. So she does this by warming the chicks at interval. She also protects them. You see some hens, immediately after hatching, they become highly aggressive. Of course, this is a trait which is good, that helps the mother hen to protect her chicks from any form of danger or any form of predator. She becomes more aggressive at that point. And it is the chick to develop, she is the chick to develop food preferences. Of course, you can say, why is it important for her to regulate the temperature and protection when we can keep the chicks in a safe environment, and also we can provide them with heating source. Of course, that can be done artificially, but there are some other things that the mother hen does, which we have not been able to simulate and put into the commercial rearing environment of the chickens. For instance, she helps to enhance the behavioral, to synchronize the behavior of the chicks. Have we been able to come up with a way to do that under the commercial setting? She mediates the chick's response to threats. Yes, you may be wondering that the commercial setting is meant to be a safe environment, but remember that we are now moving from indoor production to outdoor production, and definitely there are some environments that are not 100% free of predators, and the birds should be able to take the appropriate escape behavior when they are being approached by any predator. And she also, she trains them on what is right to pick and what not to pick. And this has helped them, has been reported that chicks that are brooded by mothers tend to show less feather pecking behavior later in life. So now we have some welfare issues associated with lack of maternal care, because we have, by hatching a lot of them and not having this mother figure, at the end, we have discovered that it's good for production. We have large number of animals that we can produce, that we can rear to market with, to meet the population need. But these chickens are suffering in one way or the other. They have some issues that we also need to attend to. So chicks that are not brooded by mothers tend to have high level of fear. And you might be wondering, why should I be concerned about the level of fear in chickens? All I need is just to get the chicken and eat it. Highly fearful chickens tend to suffer a lot during the production system. You see them piling off, just once you come in contact with them, it's this flight, they're just flying away or moving away from you. And this can lead to piling or smothering, which of course, the consequence is increase in mortality, which is not good for the farmer. They lack anti-predatory behavior because they don't know how to adjust to the natural environment. They show increased aggression and also increased feather pecking, because when they were growing up, they were just pecking on anything available, and they had to learn through trial and error. The poultry industry, there are a lot of things. We talk about the housing condition, we talk about temperature, we talk about a lot of issues associated with the welfare of chickens. And we have seen a growing increase in campaign, for changing from the hens from cages. You have a lot of campaigns on cage-free system, best hen practice here and there. And most countries have accepted this, and they have banned the use of cages in a lot of countries, except in developing countries where we are still using the battery cage system. And also it will be good for us to know that animal welfare has progressed from concept to laws or guidelines around the world. So there are some countries now where they already have strict laws related to the housing system, related to the lighting system and things like that. But do we really have any law that based on these welfare issues that we have been able to identify in chicks that are reared without mothers? When are we going to have laws that will support maternal care or the rearing system for chickens. So this picture just shows what it looks like if you have thousands in a barn. They are just there trying to learn on their own, and they at times peck on themselves. Some will even peck on the droppings of others and things like that. Turning maternal care in commercial poultry production. And why don't we have, now that we even have in the dairy industries, at least some extent of maternal contact. Currently, there are few laws that exist on rearing conditions of chicks, even in the EU. And the major reason that has been given is that for biosecurity reasons, the inclusion of adult hens in barns seem almost impossible to practice. If the issue is biosecurity of having a live or adult hens rear their chicks, then that shouldn't end the matter. There should still be a way forward. So what is the next step? The next step is for us to look into the different maternal cues and see how we can adopt them into the commercial poultry production system. Yeah, so there are different cues. We have physical cues. For instance, the picture I have here is, these are chicks that are reared using a red heating lamp. And that is what exists mostly in the commercial setting. You have the heating lamp as a source of heat for the growing chicks. But if you look at the real mother hen and her chicks, yes, she helps in regulating the temperature of the chicks by bringing them, they go under her feather, you can see. But one thing that we should also see is that it's not only warmth that the chicks get by going under the feathers of their mother. Under the feathers is a place that is dark. So there's the need for a dark environment. At times, they may go there just to rest, and she may just call them to rest under her feathers in the warm and dark environment. Have what a different modification. Here is a picture showing a heating plate, of course, where the chicks can go and be warmed. And of course, to give that dark environment, we have it, covered with like fringes so that the chicks can go under it. It is dark and they get warmed, trying to simulate what happens when the chicks get under the real hen to be warmed. So this is how the dark brooder was developed. It is a passive model of a brooding hen, and it helps to provide heat and is a dark area to rest. In a commercial environment, you can have, this is also a modified form of dark brooder that can be used in a commercial setting, and the chicks can go in. It is, they know when they need this heating or when to rest. And several studies have shown that when they go in under the dark brooder, it is good because it helps them. So there are some welfare benefits of using this dark brooder. The study of Fosley et al. 2022 looked at the implication of the use of dark brooder on broiler chickens. Broilers, they tend to rest a lot, and it was observed that when provided with dark brooders, it enabled them to rest. Studies on laying hens have shown that the chicks that were reared or that were raised with dark brooder tend to show less feather pecking. And it is on the assumption that when a chick goes underneath the dark brooder to rest, it has separated itself from the active chickens. Severe feather pecks are more often directed to inactive individuals. And on the long run, it has also been reported that chicks that are reared with the dark brooders tend to show less level of fearfulness. And this was validated using 3 types of test of fear, which is the tonic immobility test, the novel object test, and also the open field test. So we can see the benefit of just one of the physical cue of a mother hen. Is this everything that we can get from a mother hen? No, of course, no. We also have the sensory cue. I have this picture here, and what I want to show is this pointed end, which is called the preen gland or the uropygial gland, and it secretes oil. We know that during the preening process, the animal is taking care of its feathers. It uses the beak to pick some oil from the preen gland and then spreads it on his feather. And then this makes it glossy, and things like that. And research has shown that 4 days prior to hatching, that there is a special secretion in that preen gland, which gives like a kind of is a pheromone of the mother hen. And researchers discovered that this chemical, when they extracted it and tested it, and discovered that it can also help to reduce stress in the chicks. They were able to do some analysis about the composition of secretion during that time close to hatching, and they were able to come out with a synthetic form of it called the mother hen uropygial secretion. The synthetic form of it is now being available. For my research, only on broiler chickens, both on the fast-growing and the slow-growing broilers. I've not read any study that have tested the use of the mother hen uropygial secretion analog on laying birds. So it is an area that needs to be further investigated, whether the use of this uropygial secretion can help to reduce feather pecking. But from the results that was reported from experiment conducted on broiler chickens, there were some welfare benefits that were reported. It helps to control the stress level measured using the heterophil lymphocyte ratio and the corticosteroid level. It reduced the HL and the corticosteroid level in broilers that were reared in an environment having this mother hen uropygial secretion. And of course, the mother hen uropygial secretion was made in such a way, it's just like a gel, like you having an air freshener in your room, and you just have the smell around. And that was what they did. So it helped to reduce stress in the birds. It also helped to reduce body scratches during transportation to the slaughterhouse, the carcass weight of the broilers. But we are yet to get studies on how these sensory cues can help alleviate welfare issues like feather pecking in laying hens. The third one I would like to talk about is the use of auditory cues. I've already mentioned that the chickens vocalize a lot. In fact, for the mature chicken, they have over 20 types of vocalization. And here, since we are trying to look at a way to simulate maternal care and can be used in a commercial rearing system, then here is a video of my German bushfowl and her chicks, and I would like you to listen to the sound of the feed call. I gave them some mealworms and I recorded the call just to be able to show you. So she makes the call to attract them to feed. And one thing about the feed call and the alarm call is functionally referential. And what that means is that the feed call varies based on the context of the type of feed available or the quantity of feed available. Here, it's a mealworm, so I want to believe mealworm is a delicacy. It is what the chickens like. And of course, I want to believe that this is a high quality feed call, but it is something I would like to investigate using different. Can the auditory cues be used to improve the welfare of chicks in a commercial environment? Yes, it has been tested in broiler chickens. You may even wonder. So it doesn't mean that any call, any breed or any strain can understand what the call means. So a mother hen call was feed call was played to broiler chicks here, according to Woodcock et al. 2004, and they discovered that the chicks were attracted close to the feeder. When this call was made, the call was made for the first 9 days of life. They had a control group that didn't have the call, and they had a treatment group that had the mother hen vocalization, feed call vocalization for 9 days. And they discovered that anytime the call was played, the chicks were attracted to come close to the feeder. That was what they reported. And at the end of, they also discovered that within that 9 days, those chicks that had the head vocalization played to them had a good feed conversion, and their body weight was higher than those that didn't have the vocalization. After 9 days in the experiment of Woodcock et al. 2004, they stopped playing the vocalization sound. That means after the day 10 upwards, there was no significant difference again. So we could see that the vocalization actually helped, to attract the chicks to the feeder, and of course, for them to feed, which reflected in their increased body weight gain. The question is, can we use this playback call on different chicken strains? Like I said, it worked for the broiler. So myself and my team, we have done 2 separate experiments, which I would like to talk on briefly. The first one is we used the playback call, the feed call and the alarm call, but I'm just going to talk about the feed call because that is what this is about. So in the first experiment, we compared the behavioral response of the Nigerian indigenous chicks and the commercial broiler chicks to feed call playback. We played the call for 1 minute and then stopped. And there was an interval of 10 minutes, and we played the call again for another 1 minute and an interval of 10 minutes over a period of 50 minutes. We looked at the immediate response of these 2 chicken breed strains, and the immediate response means that within that 1 minute when the call was played, what really happened? Was there any difference in the behavior of the Nigerian indigenous chickens and the commercial broiler chickens? And we discovered that there was no difference in pecking on the feeder and then foraging. So that means the use of this feed call playback had the same effect on both the indigenous chicks and the commercial broiler chicks. And we also looked at the recovery time, which was the time between one call and the other. That is the interval period. And we noticed that these 2 chicks, just resumed their normal activities, which is prominent to them. We had the increased pecking in commercial broiler chicks, not feather pecking here. They were just pecking on objects, and foraging in the Nigerian indigenous chicks. A similar study using another strain. The Iyasere Brown is a laying hen, but we used them when they were two weeks of age, and the Funab Alpha broiler chicks. This an improved and indigenous chicken developed at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. So we also used the same feedback call that we used in the first experiment, but here we did the playback call consistently for 1 hour at a stretch. It was continuous for 1 hour. It's different from the first one. Of course, we know that no hen, under no circumstance will the hen make a feed call that will last for 1 hour at a stretch. But the intention of this experiment was to see if, because the feed call is known to be an attractive call, that it's going to induce or arouse the animal for a positive event, calling them to come and feed. It is different from the alarm call, which is going to trigger an arousal for a negative event. So we played it continuously for 1 hour to see if probably this will make, the animals feel a bit in a positive state, and then we can see changes in other physiological parameters. But what we discovered was the Iyasere Brown and the Funab Alpha chickens also showed similar way of, in terms of foraging, feeding, and pecking when the call was being played. And in terms of arousal, the Iyasere Brown chicks showed greater arousal because we discovered that it had an increase in wing temperature when this feed call was played. That means they are responding to it in a particular way. Another type of call, apart from the feed call, is the maternal clock call, also known as the follow me call. It is emitted to attract and maintain the brood, and anytime give a distress call, the mother tries to respond by giving the clock call. And according to Edgar et al. 2015, they discovered that this maternal clock call can help to reduce the stress level in chicks that were subjected to air puff. But they discovered that it's not any kind of maternal call that work. They try to look at a low arousal maternal clock call, that is the 10%, and the high arousal maternal clock call, which is the 30% proportion of time. And they discovered that it was the 10% when the mother showed a low arousal to the distress level. That was what helped to reduce the stress response in the chicks. So maternal clock call showed they were able to get some physiological responses, but there was no change in the behavior of the chicks. As the chicks showed a similar level of freezing behavior under the two conditions. So in conclusion, maternal cues have the potential to enhance the welfare of chickens. Since we can have the real, live animal, the maternal cues have the potential to enhance the welfare of chickens. And of course, it is biologically relevant. It is non-invasive, it is less expensive, and it is sustainable. It is sustainable. And so, but we still need more research in this area in relation to other aspects of welfare, like the behavior and affective states of the animals. And then at the end, probably we may be able to get some policies that will favor the use of maternal care as in the rearing condition of chicks. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, letting us understand more the important role of the mother hen and how it mediates the chick responses to prevent them on where to go, where not to go, and then their escape attempts on predators. And we are now very much open to questions now. Now, just a quick one, I was just about asking about the cost implication. If we say we should simulate the mother row using the dark brooder, like you rightly said, do you have an idea, wouldn't that be another cost implication on our farmers?
Of course, you have to get it installed, but you have to look at the implication on the long run. It's not something that you use, one-off time and throw it away. It's something that you have to use over thousands of beds, and several years is still there for you to use. So I don't think it should add too much to the costs. And also the dark brooder will also save cost, because instead of you to heat up the whole building, you just have to heat this specific area. It will save you energy, which is, to me, it is more economical.
Thank you very much for that wonderful answer. I have a question here that says, the free contact method tends to create more bonding between the calf and the cow, and it seems good, but what are the disadvantages of this method?
Yeah, for the animal, there is no disadvantage, but it's for we humans that, want to benefit from the animals, that as a farmer, you might be wondering that you may not be able to get as much milk as you can from the animal to sell. So that is the only thing. But for the animal, there is no disadvantage.
Okay. Now, on fostering, you spoke earlier about your work about cross fostering and everything. Now, what are the effects of fostering on chick cognition?
We really have studies on fostering in chickens. And that is why I am doing the current work I'm doing at the moment here. And we only have reports talking about chicks brooded by hens. But when I look through most of the published report, I discovered that they used different strain of hen, to brood different strain of chicks. And that was what inspired this research proposal on looking at fostering types. So at the moment, I have not come across how fostering can affect cognition. But what I can say is that fostering may have implication on the behavior of both the mother and also the chick. Based on my personal observation of what I am doing, for instance, if I having a silky hen caring for a bushfowl chick, they are of different genetic makeup. But because when the chick was hatched, the first contact it had is the silky hen. So, and the silky hen, we have to, be the mother and train them. So there is a way that the chick will have to learn from the mother, and the mother will also have to modify her behavior to suit this other strain. So it's both ways.
Thank you so much for that wonderful answer, Ma. I have a question here from Barnabas asking about the milking system stated. Which one seems to be the best when we try to consider the cow-calf welfare, and also looking at like the profit making when we start looking at the cost implication?
Yeah. To have a win-win situation, maybe the 12 hours, at least half. Let's have it half. Let the calf have the mother for half of the day, and you can get the milk for half of the remaining 12 hours.
Great. You've answered that earlier on. Dr. Duru was trying to ask about the large-scale production and how we can bring maternal care to the poultry industries at a reduced cost. Now, I have another one here by Dr. Seun, which says, do you think that the artificially hatched chicks on a large scale can benefit the maternal care? Wouldn't there be aggression, hatred, or even cannibalism because of lack of brooding or bonding between the introduced mother and her chick, or artificially hatched chicks?
I think the way she understands it is that we want to introduce a mother hen and her brood into a large flock. No, that is not the issue. That is not what we are doing here. That is not what we are talking about. Here we are looking at, of course, I said something about the issue of biosecurity, and matured hens are not allowed to stay in contact with the young ones on a bigger scale commercial production system. But what we are campaigning for now, some simulated cues in the commercial setting that can at least give this environment, kind of environment that the mother, something is there. They can still pick some cues that, okay, this looks like a mother, this is something from the mother, and they won't miss out on everything.
Yeah, thank you very much for that wonderful answer. Now, Dr. Drew is asking about how can hen-chick interaction or behavior, such as play and allo-grooming, be stimulated in commercials?
The visual cue would be maybe showing things like video clips of what a mother hen looks like, how she does things. Of course, the chickens can watch and they will understand what is happening. I have done something like a preliminary stuff, and you see they will just be attracted to the screen, and they'll be active. They can decide to want to get to contact with the mother. They can want to peg the screen and things like that. So it's a way that we can also look into the visual cues and see if they see a picture of a mother hen, maybe it would make them more happy or something.
That's good. That's going to be a very great one to really look into. Okay, Emmanuel is trying to ask, and then I think you've answered that also about the cost implication of simulating the maternal care, and that has been rightly answered. Now, there's another question here from Katrina. She's asking, wonderful presentation. Did I get it right that the rearing of chicks with a mother is forbidden from biosecurity reasons? Or is it not recommended and farmers could theoretically do it? Now, if so, is there any commercial farm where chicks are kept with mothers?
No. Currently, there are no commercial farms where chicks are kept with the mothers. Most cases where you find mother and chick would be maybe in a lot of backyard chicken. And also remember that it's not all hens that have this the trait to brood or this maternal care. Most of the commercial strains don't have the trait anymore. They have been selected, that trait have been selected, they have been selected against that trait. So at the moment, there is no commercial farm, I'm not sure of any, that have the real mother hen in place. But what I'm talking about is using those the different maternal cues, whether it's the vocalization, at least vocalization can just be played in a commercial environment. You can also use the mother hen uropedial secretion in the commercial. It's just like an air freshener in the commercial environment. It works. It has been shown to work. So we can all bring in those cues and see how it's just to represent the mother hen. It's not the real mother hen, but it still help, to enhance the welfare of the chicks. I don't know if I've answered the question.
Yes, I think so, ma. Yes, ma. Now I have another question here which says that does maternal care affect the weight gain and carcass quality of chicks?
Of course, that is a question that a farmer will ask, who is interested in the profit. But don't forget that weight gain is not a good measure of welfare of the animals. If it were to be a good measure, the broiler chicken would not be suffering. So maternal care, the secretion, the mother hen uropedial secretion, of course, have been reported severally that chicks that were reared under that environment had higher body weight. And also the report of Woodcock on the use of hen vocalization, the feed call, also helped the chicks to feed more and to grow better. So it works.
Great, thank you for making us to know that, ma. Last question I'm seeing here is saying from Akim Jimo. Under the commercial layer production, most of the chicks are raised without maternal care, making the chick prone to stress, stampede, dangers. How can we address this issue?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Now, Akim is asking about how we can address the issue of stress and then stampede under the commercial production system where chicks are raised without their mothers.
No, I think what he's trying to say is, if the chicks are raised with their mothers, they can be stampeded. Is that it?
Yes, and then it causes stress on them. And then how can we then alleviate the effects of chicks raised without their mother? I think if I got the question.
To alleviate the stress on chicks without mothers, we bring in maternal cues.
Thank you very much for that great answer, ma. I have another one from Katarina, which says, could not be exposing chicks to acoustic, maybe also visual maternal cues frustrating for them? Maybe they would like to connect with their mother more, but it would not be possible because it is not present, and this would have a negative effect on their well-being.
Thank you so much, Katarina. Of course, that is another way to look at it. If they have this visual observation and they can see the hen and they want to contact, and at the end of the day realize that she is not real or it's just a video clip, will they get frustrated? I don't know. It may and it may not, but I think it is worth investigating.
Great. So that's another research question off for an answer. Thank you very much for that wonderful answer, ma'am. Now, Rukoya is asking, is there any maternal care simulation that can be used to reduce aggressiveness in chickens, just as the dark brooders has been very helpful, and also to reduce feather pecking as well too?
Yeah, that is why I said when I was concluding that we need more research in that area. At the moment, we have few research that has been conducted on the use of different maternal cues, even on laying hens when it comes to feather pecking. I want to believe that, but most of the reports that we have really talked about the use of the dark brooders, and it has helped, to reduce feather pecking, but nothing has been reported on how the mother hen Europedia secretion can help reduce feather pecking or how vocalization can help reduce feather pecking. But I have the belief that the feed call can also be beneficial in this area because it is a call that will attract, the chicks to the feeder. So it redirects them, back to the feeder to feed instead of them pecking on, other pen mates and things like that. So I think it have that potential, but we are yet to get, scientific evidence about it.
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation and doing justice to all of our questions here. And for now, I cannot see any more questions in the chat box. Everyone is saying thank you for the wonderful presentation. Oluwaseun Serah is also thank you for exposing us to maternal care in dairy animals and then the poultry animals. So for now, I seems not to see any questions again in the chat box. Okay. Emmanuel is asking that for maternal care in cow, what of going from 1 hour from Monday to Thursday, and then we can have 12 hours during the weekend?
It depends on, there are different styles to things. You can decide on how you want to go about it, but the main thing is having them have that contact. If you are talking about restricted suckling, even half a day is restricted suckling because it's still not 24 hours. But restricted suckling that I talked about was just few minutes, or let me say 30 minutes or 1 hour, which is, the minimal that you can have. So it depends on you to vary it. It depends on you as a farmer. You can decide to say, okay, I want to have 6 hours a day. I want to have 4 hours a day. It depends on what you can, make available to the animal. But the main thing is that getting them have that access to their mother is very important.
Thank you so much for that wonderful answer. Now it's a great privilege for us to actually hear again from the mother hen herself, and lean you over to Dr. Serah for the rest of the webinar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Victor, for wonderful moderation. And thank you very much, Dr. Iyasere, for the wonderful presentation. We allow 2 or 3 people to give a feedback. If you want to say anything, can you signify by raising up of hand? If you want to say anything, let me. I think Said is giving you kudos. If you want to say anything, please signify by raising up of hand.
Thanks so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Mommy. All right, I'm just wondering, there's a duration in which human beings enjoy maternal care or parental care, as the case may be. Even they can span up to adulthood. So I've been wondering at what age or time in the life of the chick does maternal care ends in their growth phase?
That is a big question. Currently, it has been reported that the duration of maternal care ranges from 5 to 12 weeks, but the appropriate one is something that has not been reported. Okay, you said 5 to 12 weeks. Does that mean 6 weeks is okay? Does that mean what will make it last to 12 weeks? I don't know. It depends on the environment where you have the chicks. If you allow them to stay together, maybe for a long time, there are some good mothers and there are some that maybe you start seeing them maybe after some few weeks, they just want, to get them off and start laying again. So what controls the duration of maternal care? I don't know if it has to do with the, when she's brooding, she stops egg laying, and I think the reproductive system is atrophy or shrinks or something, is not functioning at that time. So it gets to a point when the system have to come back to normal. you know, before
Mhm.
egg laying and things can, and that is when she may want to get rid of the chicks that she has so that she can start laying again. But what could favor it, or what could make it come earlier, or what could make it come later, I have no clue. But I have no clue. Yeah.
I was saying something, Dr. Iyasere. I said, to me, there is more to this maternal care. You know, there is provision of warmth, there is bonding, vocalization. I believe there will be some other chemical cues like the production of pheromones.
That is the one I told you from the European gland.
Yeah. So I think this should be easier than the physical presence of the mother hen, or putting the mother on the screen and so many other things. I was just thinking.
And they are different. It depends on the way you want to approach it. Of course, we have the physical, the dark brooder, we have the sensory, we have the pheromones, that's from the chemical from the European gland. We have the vocalization. So it depends on whichever one you want to use, or probably combine to bring in more of, you know, the maternal stuff. So it depends on what is available or how you can combine it.
I think the farmer will want to pick the cheapest one because they want to minimize their cost and maximize their profit, which I think is the major aim of every industry.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for this wonderful presentation, and I want to also thank all our participants. Thank you for trusting us with your time. So I want to thank you very much for participating in today's presentation, and we are so grateful to have you join our meeting another day. And we hope to see you in our subsequent meetings. And we also want to appreciate the support of our University Federations for Animal Welfare for paying for the license Zoom that we are using for our webinar. So you four, thank you very much. You can follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is at AWGM14. And you can also follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn on Animal Welfare Group Nigeria. And you can also watch our past webinars on our YouTube channel. And I know you are going to enjoy every bit of it.